Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, and I would like to call the meeting to order. Before we proceed, I would like to take a moment to note that Donna Duggan is here today, stepping in as interim CPSRAB liaison, and also member Barbara Hamilton Miller has rejoined the CPSRAB, serving a second-term reappointment. So I would like to welcome Donna and also Barb. So with that, can we have a roll call, please?
Jason Allen.
Present.
Christopher Caldwell.
Present.
Wally Ferrara.
Present.
Luis Garcia.
Present.
Ebony Hempel is excused. Barbara Miller. Here. Susan Stapleton is excused. Larry Tolbert.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, I would like to close the regular meeting, and I would like to convene to the appeal hearing. So I would like to open the appeal hearing for PCR number 2023-0029.
Vice Chair and Board, on November 30th, 2023, Troy Whitfield and Lansey Moore filed a PCR complaint with the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. Mr. Whitfield and Mr. Moore alleged they were target of harassment and rights violations during a traffic stop that occurred on November 16th, 2023. The complaint was assigned to Inspector Chuck Mason from the Office of Professional Standards for investigation. The investigation was closed on March 4th, 2024. The Chief's Office reviewed the report and cleared the involved officers of the complainant's allegations. The complainants were notified of the Chief's findings, and Mr. Whitfield has chosen to appeal the findings to the City Manager. The City Manager has referred this appeal to the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeals Board and requests a disposition recommendation. This appeal is before you this evening.
Thank you. So with that, I would like to outline the process of the hearing today. So we have first, the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board will now hear the appeal related to PCR number 2023-0029. Do all members have a digital or a printed copy of the appeal packet in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any member of the Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board who is unable to render an unbiased opinion on this appeal due to a relational, financial, or other conflict of interest? Okay. We will hear from the appellant and why they disagree with the Chief's determination of the complaint. At the conclusion of the appellant's presentation, board members will have the opportunity to ask the appellant for clarification or additional detail. After hearing from the appellant, we will hear from the investigator to describe the investigation that was undertaken to form the Chief's findings. At the conclusion of the investigation's presentation, board members will have the opportunity to ask the investigator for clarification or additional detail. The appellant has requested that the hearing is open to the public. While the hearing is open to the public, we request that there be no outburst of any kind. While there will not be an opportunity for public comments during the hearing, all regular Citizens Public Safety Review and Appeal Board meetings are open to the public and offer an opportunity for public comments on any topic. After hearing from the appellant and investigator, the board will adjourn and go into a closed deliberation, and the public as well as the appellant will be excused. At the conclusion of the deliberations, and within 14 business days of the close of the hearing, the CPSRAB will prepare a written report to be submitted to the city manager with a recommendation to sustain or amend the Chief's finding. The city manager shall have the final authority to sustain or amend the Chief's finding I will notify the appellant of the determination within 20 business days following the appeal hearing. So with that said, I would like to welcome Mr. Whitfield. If you'd like to come up, please, sir.
Chair Payne, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
And Mr. Whitfield, I'm so sorry. We're having a little bit of a technical issue with the screen down below for you to view the
Okay.
presentation. So I am going to probably turn that screen so that
Okay.
you can see that.
Should we turn, is it possible to turn this one?
That one is actually what is
Disconnected
used
also?
for the live stream.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just one moment, please.
Oh, yeah, and it's Vice Chair Garcia. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Whitfield. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry? Oh, okay.
Robert, Paul, Sam, out of New Jersey, unknown. Hi guys, I'm Caden. The reason I stopped you is coming off of Florence. You got to come to a complete stop. So no big deal, man. You got your driver's license on you? Mr. Whitfield?
Yeah.
Are you still on Edwards?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you have a good driver's license? This is all good and valid?
You gotta be in your head.
Just asking. Insurance and registration for the car?
That's fucking wrong, man.
Thank you. How long you been renting it for?
A couple weeks.
How long you been? Okay. Do you have like the whole copy of it, or like are you the guy that is on the renter's agreement?
That's it right there.
I'm trying to find your name on it.
This is girls. Chantel.
It's your girl's car or your girl's lease or rental for a couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
Did you get insurance put on it or no?
It's already everything is yours.
Okay.
Run it, bro.
All right. Well, I'm just asking. It's
Okay,
got you just
yeah,
gotta
run
have
it.
proof of insurance, right? All right, man. Just sit tight for me, okay?
One 5-1.
5-1.
Working on a contact here with Pearl. They had contact with Pearl and Levant now here.
10-4.
Placing her out.
$87.49 to Brown Lane for an 80-year-old male with a fall, no injuries, with a lift assist on an early shutdown.
Can you just generate a warrant service for the same address? And just throw in the queue. We'll add his name to it. We'll keep these two separate.
Granite. And County 5952, did you want me to show you on the medical?
Email left in eastbound Gladys.
Quiet.
Who's in the car?
Troy Whitfield, I can't get the other two ID'd for the front passenger.
10-4.
Good boy.
103 dispatch. Do you have any call around that Chrysler van?
Takes one.
I see on the board that there's another 10-6 at this intersection. Do you have any more information on that?
Five one for 28 out of New Jersey.
5-1, go ahead.
Sam 72 Robert Paul Sam. It's a F-150 out of New Jersey. Quiet.
I'm fair on that one, but I've attached the one here. I think this is going to be
Quiet.
one of the same.
Alright, let's get this car around.
Yep.
Confused and sleepy. 10-4.
Hey, Mr. Whitfield, can you pop out for me real quick?
What's the problem?
Pop out for me real quick, okay? Thank you. I'll give you this back. Do you have anything illegal on you right now?
Why does that matter?
I'm just asking you a very easy question. Okay. Can I search you to make sure?
Nah.
Okay. Pop out.
What's wrong with this?
Okay. Pop out. I'm just gonna pat you down. Do you have anything that's gonna poke
Why
me
you
or stick
patting
me?
me down?
For
Why?
safety, okay? I'm just gonna
Why?
pat you
This
down.
thing
Any
is-
weapons?
no,
Just put your hands right here, okay? I know. I'm just gonna pat you down. Right here by my bumper for me real quick.
What's up?
What were you in front of my bumper, buddy? What were you guys up to at the North Pole?
What?
What were you guys up to at the North Pole?
Nothing.
Okay. Is anything illegal in your car?
No.
Okay. Can I search it?
No.
Okay. Just sit tight for me right here. Hey, Derek. You just want to sit tight with him? 14.
Yeah, but that's he got license. You're not supposed to. Let me get your car too.
Sit tight for me for just a second, bud.
Let me talk to him. I'll lick.
Okay. Can you pop out for me, buddy?
That's some weird ass shit, man.
Do you have anything illegal on you?
Hell no.
Okay. Can you just sit tight for me? Do you have anything illegal?
I just said no.
Can I search you?
No.
Okay. I'm just gonna pat you down real
You ain't
quick, all right?
patting on. You ain't touching me.
I'm just gonna pat you.
You're not touching me.
I am, buddy.
You're.
Nothing
I
quick.
just said you're not touching me.
I know. I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it anyways.
I don't want you to touch me.
Okay.
Okay, I won't.
All right.
Let me get my phone.
Right here by my bumper, okay?
Let me get my phone.
I'll be happy to talk to you. I'm sorry.
No, I won't.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
Kilo from Portage with dark and silver Chrysler.
Good boy. Come on, let's go potty. Go potty. Come on, go potty. Potty. Good boy. Good. Come on, bud. Good boy. Good boy. Blue. Seats. 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 I don't. Blue. I don't. Check. 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 Oh, check. Come on, check. Good. Check. Check. Here. Come on. Blue, here. Check. Good boy. Come on, Blue. Come on. Come on, buddy. Blue. Find out. Find out. Good. Come here. Find out. Come on, buddy. Good. Check. Good. Here. Good boy. Seats. Good. Find out. Find out. Come on, find out. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Come here, buddy. Good boy. Come on. Good. 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 What do you got? Blue. Blue. Check. Good boy. Come on. Come on. Come on. Find out. Check. Come on, buddy. Good boy. Come on. Blue. Good. Yes. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Good job, buddy. Good boy. Here. Come on. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Yes. That's good. That's good. Good boy. Here, load up. Good. Good boy. Mr. Whitfield, where'd you go? Can you talk to me real quick, buddy? So, I'm gonna search the car, okay? My dog alerted to the odor of narcotics. Is there anything? I'd like you to be honest with me. There's nothing in there that we're gonna find. All right, cool, man. Sit tight.
After this, can we get cards?
I'll give you numbers. 5-1 for 29. Right here?
Yeah.
You sure? All right. I ain't spilling it. Five one. Clear it, thank you.
What up, brother? Yo. Hello?
Hey, what you doing, brother? Don't put no Mickey in my walk. Don't put no Mickey in my motherfucking walk. Hey, bro, hey.
Five one for 28. Edward Robert Henry 0486.
Two, 6, 9, 3, 6, 6, 6, 9, 5.
5-1. I'm clearing it, thanks, you can file.
Man, he old as hell, man. He not a police?
No, it don't matter. Shit.
He with y'all, shit.
I think that's like 2 in a row that they've been disrespecting you. Nothing. Quiet. Just give them the biscuit and we'll be on our way.
86-3. 6-3. If she's not at the laundromat, she lives at 4019 apartment F. She told my partner she's not very mobile. I thought she planned to meet you down at the laundromat, but she might get the apartment.
Nothing.
Okay. Are they good to get back in the car?
Yeah, I was just gonna give them a written warning, then we'll get out of their hair.
Okay. You guys can get back in the car.
Okay.
Alex, you want? County 33, time I got no answer.
600 different lotto tickets.
Yeah.
Circle, we got
4-1 said that he got some off of Pearl, but no.
Saying that they can hear something outside.
No, it's
What's the incident number?
for this
That somebody was inside.
is 108-595. There's literally like thousands of lotto tickets.
5425 Washington Avenue, room 239.
What is
There's a
your
white male, white hair, and it's
15089.
light gray pants and a green or gray jacket. Demanding to get a key to the
Oh,
room.
not you.
The room is not in his name. No weapons, no intoxicant drugs at this time.
Whitfield,
313.
What's your badge number?
not Benny. Troy.
Thank you.
Had to be on one of their people's. He went crazy at the passenger.
I'm good. Can you throw a case note and note to make an ACSA?
He tried to jump in the car at the passenger side.
This dude did?
No, my dog did.
Oh. I think it was probably the backseat passenger or the front seat.
Okay.
Not sure. Pearl admits to like getting in the truck and
Right.
giving them money, but that's
Okay.
Alright. You just writing a case against Pearl? You didn't arrest her, right?
Yeah, I didn't arrest her. It was just Megan Brown and Brad there just holler and just making it difficult.
Okay.
But, so, maybe next time.
Yeah.
Check
5 on lane.
I'll ask you. Probably don't want to because it's also like just a micro rock. Do you want to run a dope or no?
Probably not. Actually, yeah, I do. Let it sit for a while.
Alright, I'm gonna have someone test it.
Do you still have that New Jersey pulled up for me?
Hey, Grandma, still hold it up.
Can you send me the information in a message?
Hold it.
$2-1-2-3 code 4.
You sure?
Herman Portion, go for you.
Hold on, buddy. Sorry, man. I'll be honest, I was just gonna give you a written warning, but my computer's all slow.
What?
I give you a written warning.
So we good to go?
Yeah, you're good to go. So I just want to tell you that I wasn't gonna give you a ticket here. I was just gonna give you a written warning for the stop sign, okay? I'm sorry for the problems, but obviously we have to do what we got to do, all right?
Why?
You want to leave or to tell you why we did what?
Yeah, tell me. I want to know.
I was just curious what you're doing at the North Pole with the
This is
several
our neighborhood.
I know.
We grew up in
That's
this
good.
neighborhood.
That's fine.
So we can't
That's
go
fine.
to the store?
How come my dog hit on your car for narcotics?
How come he didn't find them?
I don't know.
Shit.
I would have just as many guesses as you guys.
Exactly.
I mean, it's all bullshit, but it's,
Okay.
it's all good.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Take care, man. Thank you. Yep. Nice one. Never heard it before. Good boy.
15-4-1.
Good boy, buddy. Good boy. Good boy, buddy. I'll get you some water.
She's coming back negative, it's expired. She's coming back negative, it's expired. I'll add her to the call.
Don't even have a printer in here.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. Is there anything you'd like to add for context to the video, or anything like you'd like to carry on forward?
Yes. I just wanted a little something I got to read off. Okay. I'm here today for an incident that occurred last year in November, where I was pulled over, allegedly not stopping completely at a stop sign. The result in me being pulled out my vehicle and searched, and as well as my passengers being asked to exit the vehicle. After providing police officer with license, registration, insurance paper, as you know, a complaint was made to the police department. The chief of police made a decision that what happened met professional standards, so I'm here appealing his decision with concerns for civil rights of people of color in Kalamazoo, where 85% of police don't live in Kalamazoo, and what happened to me was unjust. Today, on behalf of me and my passengers, that what happened was not fair and added up to something more sinister, and I feel it added to racial profiling, constitutional rights violation, as well as racism. I'm going to exercise my rights to remain silent and observe the video. Y'all watch the video. So I can see if the blue line of silence can extend to the city management, so I can make people of Kalamazoo aware that racism is acceptable behavior at the highest level, and post my experience on social media. I'm scared of the police who's not from my community. Problem, have interact with black folks in their life just as police, if they don't like people of color, the opportunity to use the badge to harm people of color, and the chief is one of them. He didn't see nothing wrong with what happened to me and my passengers. I'm scared of the police. If you guys don't see anything wrong, it's a true testimony of problems with police departments across the nation, even after the George Floyd law passed, Where constitutional right violations the law of the land, we ask that you act on this behavior, ensure that everyone is treated fairly.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield. With that, I would like to open the floor to the rest of the board if you have any questions for clarification for Mr. Whitfield.
Mr. Whitfield. Yeah, I actually have a couple of questions for you. At any time, did anybody from the public safety call you as part of an investigation of your complaint?
Yes, they did.
Okay, did they happen to explain to you the court case Pennsylvania versus Mims, which, let me back up one. Did they ever tell you why they wanted you to step out your vehicle?
No.
Okay, did they ever go, and I saw the video, but for the follow-up on the investigation call, did they ever go into detail as to why they had the dogs sniff your vehicle?
Well, from the situation, as you've seen in the video, that, we was at the North Pole, polar bear. So,
What? But that's the only thing which was shown on the video that said because you were at the North Pole, and what were you doing?
What you guys were doing at the North Pole?
And that's the only question, even in the investigation, that they asked you to explain why they had the dogs?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Whitfield, would you be able to get a little closer to the microphone, or can the microphone be raised up for him? Is that possible, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, just so we can hear you better, okay?
Okay. All right.
Let's try that and see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, much better, much better. So, basically, at any point in time, I know what I saw in the video, but as part of the investigation, did they explain to you that although you had a valid driver's license, registration, proof of insurance, but because your name wasn't on to rental agreement, that's why they were asking you and your passengers to step out?
No.
That was never explained to you in the investigation?
That doesn't have nothing to do with, my name not being on the rental agreement. That ain't no reason. The whole thing of it was when he approached me, he said he pulled me over because I failed to come to a complete stop at a stop sign,
Okay. Okay. But what I'm saying is that was never explained to you during the stop or during the call. They never get to explain to you in detail why they had you and your passengers step out?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. Now, I didn't see in the video, actually, it came afterwards, where you supposedly did not come to a complete stop. Have you seen that?
No, that's what I was told.
Okay. But you didn't.
What the officer told me.
All right.
Yeah.
But you didn't raise a complaint about that part, did you?
Well, that was his reason of pulling me over.
Right. I know.
But I know I came to a complete stop because I saw him behind me,
One more question. Because the mic was a little bit lower and I couldn't quite hear fully what you were reading. What, I guess, what are you seeking? Because I know you said you were harassed, but were you ever, you weren't given a ticket, correct?
No.
Were you ever subsequently warned or arrested for anything because of your interaction at the party store?
No.
And no narcotics or narcotics paraphernalia was found in your truck?
No, you've seen the video.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is because there was, I guess, no arrest, no ticket, what are you saying would be, quote unquote, justice for your stop?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, we're here right now. I'm trying to see what was the violation of police department, but I'm saying, what do you
Do you feel like everything that you did, do you think they followed protocols as police officers?
I've heard your side, I'm going to hear their side, then I'll make that judgment. Okay. All right, that's my question.
Mr. Whitfield, so the police officer was initially asking you about your whereabouts initially when you were at the North Pole party store, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you, or do you recall or do you acknowledge any people approaching your vehicle while you were over there?
Excuse me?
Do you recall or do you acknowledge people approaching your vehicle while you were at the party store at that time?
When I was inside the party store?
Correct.
Yes.
You're aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay. And once you were in your vehicle, did anybody else approach your car at the time?
No, not that I know of. I was inside the store. Me and the other guy that was in the passenger seat, we were in the store.
Okay.
So, by it being our community and people that's in front of the store, of course you're going to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to ask for change or whatever. As a matter of fact, my guy, the passenger, he went in the store for the lady that was outside, actually, and bought her some in a lighter,
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask you, was there another interaction with another person after the lady that you just mentioned?
Not to my knowledge.
No. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have any more questions? Okay, with no further questions, thank you very much, Mr. Whitfield. You're more than welcome to take a seat, and then we'll listen to the public safety side. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. You just give me a second to set everything up. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chuck Mason. I'm the inspector with the Office of Professional Standards at Kalamazoo Public Safety. I'm here tonight to present Public Safety's argument for PCR 2023-0029. So this complaint was filed by Troy Whitfield and Mr. Troy Whitfield and Lanzy Moore on November 30th of last year. The complaint regarded a traffic stop and ensuing drug investigation that occurred on November 16th, 2023. Mr. Whitfield and Mr. Moore were both occupants of the vehicle that was stopped. And during the stop, they and the third occupant were asked to step out, and a canine conducted a free air sniff on the vehicle to investigate the potential for the presence of illegal drugs inside. The canine positively alerted on the vehicle, and officers conducted a search based on that alert. No contraband was found inside the vehicle during the search. Mr. Whitfield, Mr. Moore, and the third occupant were subsequently released from the scene, and the stop took approximately 20 minutes from start to finish. On November 30th, Mr. Whitfield and Moore filed a complaint against the three involved officers, and the complaint made several allegations. First of which was that officers were wrong to pull the occupants out of the vehicle as they had no probable cause to do so. Second was that the search of the vehicle occurred with no probable cause. Third, officers did not have a valid reason for the stop, which is proven by the fact that Mr. Whitfield did not receive a ticket. Fourth, the stop was a form of harassment against the occupants. And lastly, the officers refused to tell the occupants what they did wrong or the reason for the search. The Office of Professional Standards investigated Mr. Whitfield's and Mr. Moore's complaint by reviewing the initial investigation, which was conducted by the Operations Division, reviewed body-worn camera and dash camera video, the field contact logs justifying the canine sniff, and a related criminal report. To address the first complaint, it's important to address first that officers did not physically pull the occupants out of the vehicle. They asked them to step out, and they voluntarily did so. So there are a couple of major Supreme Court cases, Pennsylvania v. Mims and Maryland v. Wilson, that have affirmed the right of law enforcement officers to order people in and out of vehicles and to do so without regard to reasonable suspicion or probable cause. In this case, the occupants were ordered out of the vehicle so that the canine could conduct a free air sniff. And had the occupants failed to step out of the vehicle at that time, they could have been charged with a crime. So officers were exonerated of this allegation. No force was used to have them step out of the cars, and the officers are authorized by law and subsequently by policy, which requires them to act within the bounds of the law, to order occupants in and out of a vehicle without reason. But in this case, they did have a reason, and that was to conduct the free air sniff in furtherance of the drug investigation. So, as a reminder, exonerated means that the officer's allegations were lawful and within policy. To address the second allegation, Mr. Whitfield alleged that officers searched his vehicle without probable cause. Officers searched the vehicle because of positive alert from Canine Blue. So to parse out the logic of a dog sniff leading to a search, and Patricia, I'm going to pass this around. This is not included in the packet, and I'll explain what this is. So to kind of parse out the logic of a dog sniff leading to a search, we must first examine several layers of Supreme Court decision making. So first, in Carroll v. United States, this was back in the 1920s, SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, affirmed that automobiles can be searched on probable cause without a warrant. So because automobiles are inherently exigent, because they can roll away, a warrant's not required. So officers, as soon as they develop probable cause, can make a search of a vehicle. A few decades later, a case called Florida v. Harris determined that a positive alert from a trained police canine establishes probable cause necessary to search. And the document that I'm passing around, which was not included with the report, my error, is a certification from the National Association of National Association of Professional Canine Handlers, showing that Canine Blue has been trained to detect the odor of heroin, cocaine bases, methamphetamine. Next case was United States v. Place, which established that a canine sniff around a vehicle does not constitute a search and then thus does not implicate the Fourth Amendment, because the sniff around the vehicle is essentially detecting odors emanating from the vehicle, and there's no expectation of privacy in those odors. And then that to satisfy Florida v. Harris, positive alert from a trained police canine is, of course, his certification that I'm passing around. So there's no national standard that officers have to reach to conduct a free air sniff on a vehicle. That is, an officer can simply run a dog on a car without any justification whatsoever. There is some law about extending the length of the stop to wait for the canine to get there. That wasn't brought in this case, since the person who made the stop was the canine handler. So public safety has stricter policy than the national standard, which requires, so our policy requires officers to establish reasonable suspicion before doing a canine sniff, and they have to document that in what's called a field contact log. So as a reminder, Michigan criminal law and procedure defines reasonable suspicion as an objective basis supported by specific and articulable facts for suspecting a person of committing a crime. So it is the lowest standard of proof for police officers. So whereas probable cause is used as an arrest, reasonable suspicion is down below that. So in this case, PSO Barr articulated the following reasonable suspicion factors in his contact log. So that he noted the type of vehicle, a rental, which is commonly used in drug trafficking, the actions of two recognizable and known drug users in the parking lot directly related to the truck, the history of the lot itself, which I'll get into a little bit later, and subsequent to the stop, the identity of one occupant and their history, and the presence of numerous lottery tickets. I think PSO Bar said the number of tickets was in the hundreds inside the vehicle. So all of the above must be taken as a totality, right? Which means that individually they likely don't carry any weight, but when you bring them together, they start to rise into the reasonable suspicion category. So the officers again were exonerated of this allegation. After an analysis of the events leading up to the search, the laws and requirements associated with canine sniffs and searches, and the circumstances of this incident that built the basis for the search, the officers' actions were found to be lawful and within policy. The third allegation was that since officers did not give Mr. Whitfield a citation, they must not have had a valid reason for the traffic stop. So PSO Bar stopped Mr. Whitfield's vehicle because it did not come to a complete stop at the corner of Cobb Street and Florence Street where there is a stop sign. And he did not issue Mr. Whitfield a citation for the offense because of technical issues with his in-car computer, as we saw on the body camera. PSO Bar informed Mr. Whitfield of this at the conclusion of the stop prior to him leaving the scene. So this is a short and sweet one. Officers observed the traffic violation, conducted the stop, but the issuance of the citation, and officers have discretion on whether to issue the citation, was due to technical issues with PSO Bar's computer. So this allegation was determined to be unfounded. So number 4 is that the complaint alleged that the stop was a form of harassment against the occupants of the vehicle. So harassment is an action which is meant to cause discomfort, hardship, inconvenience against another person. So the evidence in this case points the opposite direction. Officers did not know who was in the side of the vehicle prior to the stop, and their decision to stop the vehicle was sorry, I lost my place here on my notes. Their decision to stop the vehicle and investigate further was informed by their observations of the vehicle and existing knowledge of the location where it was, that is the North Pole parking lot. So they watched 2 separate people contact the truck in an area known for drug crimes. An investigation was strengthened by PSO Barnhart's finding of illegal drugs on one of the people who he made a citizen contact with who left that truck about the same time that the truck left the parking lot. After the stop, officers followed policy and procedure regarding the canine sniff and the search and efficiently carried out the stop. And the body camera video showed that there was no time wasted here. At one point, the sergeant comes over and says, "Hey, let's get this done." And that was early in the video. The stop lasted just over 20 minutes from start to finish. And a note on this stop. So while the reason for the stop was a stop sign violation, this was, and we can all agree, was a pretextual stop, which means that there was a different law enforcement purpose than the actual violation itself. So we weren't conducting traffic enforcement. We used a traffic violation to further a separate investigation. And then the legality of this type of stop was affirmed decades ago in a case called Wren v. United States. But to reiterate, the stop was informed by specific observations and not directed at individual occupants or done without a law enforcement basis. So on that analysis, the investigation found that the officer's stop and the officer's ensuing actions were part of legitimate criminal investigation into possible criminal actions and were not done to harass the 3 people involved inside the vehicle. And this allegation was closed unfounded, which means that their alleged behavior, the harassment, did not occur. So the last allegation was that officers were wrong when they refused to tell the occupants what they did wrong or the reason for the search. So while KDPS policy states that officers should explain the reason for a search to the people involved, and typically that's what happens, investigatory practice dictates that officers should be judicious in their explanations while in the midst of an investigation. So in my report, I used a very real-world example that if the search of the vehicle, for example, yielded illegal drugs, and the officers, based on their search, were able to draw a connection between what was found in the vehicle and a separate location, such as a house, right? Informing the involved person of the nature of investigation prior to the conclusion of the case may give those individuals time to arrange for destruction of evidence elsewhere. So that being said, a review of body-worn cameras showed that none of the occupants asked about the reason for the search until the conclusion of the stop, and at that point, PSO Bar and Mr. Whitfield had a conversation about what had occurred. So KDPS policy does state that officers should explain the purpose of a search to the involved persons. In this case, PSO Bar waited until the conclusion of the stop, which was the only point in which he was asked about it. So at that point, PSO Bar took the time to tell Mr. Whitfield about the circumstances, with the vehicle and its occupants prior, talk about the circumstances of the stop with the occupants of the vehicle prior to it leaving the scene. And so the officers were exonerated of this allegation, which means that their actions were lawful and within policy. So some final thoughts about this, and here's some, I guess, some context. Something that the chief is aware of, but you as the board, just kind of additional to support the case. So this stop was an example of focused policing, right, rather than an older style shotgun approach, which we have largely abandoned as a department. So in those cases, I guess we call them the olden days, right, officers would stop anything that moved in hope of finding something, finding some sort of evidence. In this case, the officers used specific observations to support an investigation on the vehicle. So the lack of finding any evidence in it doesn't make their actions wrong. They made observations that they believed to be consistent with drug transactions. And a person who made contact at the vehicle was found to have drugs on him. Occupants were driving a rental vehicle, which are often used to facilitate drug trafficking and criminal activity. The stop originated from a location that has been a nagging source of criminal activity and has consumed KDPS resources. Just to give you some context, since November 1st of 2023, the month that this occurred until yesterday, officers have written over 45 criminal cases in the parking lot. I know that location's been a source of over 200 calls for service, including trespassing, shots fired, assaults, and crime prevention patrols in response to citizens' requests. So this stop did not happen randomly and was part of a larger enforcement goal in that area. So that is the conclusion of my case. Does the board have any questions for me?
Dr. Mason.
Sure.
How you doing? A couple questions for you. Prior to the investigation in the report, it said because of the newer model vehicle, out-of-state license plate, he assumed it was a rental, and then furthermore, something that could be used by a drug dealer, correct?
That's correct.
If that same vehicle would have pulled into a Harding's or a Myers, would the same presumption be made?
I guess with the you'd have to take it in with the
I'm just saying, not the totality, because at the time, that was what got his wheels spinning. So if that same vehicle pulls into a Harding or Myers, does that same wheel start spinning?
It very well could, but I don't think the officer can make that. I don't think the officer can make that statement alone without contextual clues.
Okay, and then my next question is, if there, when the lady, and I don't want to say her name, I don't know, was stopped, she admitted to, well, first she said she didn't have anything on her, then she admitted to the pipe, then she admitted to the substances. At any time, did she say that she got the substance from inside the vehicle?
No.
If she had already admitted to having what she had, but she never connected that to the truck?
That's correct.
Okay. And just going back to your most recent thing when you said about the focus investigation and the numbers that you have, wouldn't it be, I guess, I'm trying to figure out if the hand-to-hand was observed, why wasn't it at action, but instead allowed the vehicle to leave and then question it if the hand-to-hand was observed? Because Mr. Whitfield just said that they purchased a lighter and handed it to her. So, and then the dog did the free air sniff on a rental car. The order could have been from the previous renter.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm trying to connect the dots to where we pulled them over.
The vehicle could have been contacted in the parking lot. I think that it was done outside of that location because they could put it in a place, they could stop it in a place where it was controlled. They could essentially separate the scene. You can separate the truck. You can separate the other person who's involved and conduct two separate investigations rather than doing it in the lot. I would chalk that up to a tactical decision.
Okay, and I guess the reason why I asked about in the lot, because if you have those type of numbers, but we're doing investigations covertly where we're looking through binoculars, wouldn't it be more effective just if the police patrol cars were either parked in a lot or if people actually actively saw that type of investigation as the deterrent. Because my question is, I drive a pretty nice car. So if I pull into that lot and someone knows me, say from community service or whatever, hey, you got $1, whatever, and I hand them $1, does that now help because of the make model of my car being newer? Because I don't know if because it's a newer vehicle in that neighborhood, if that raises suspicion, but because I drive a newer vehicle and I hand somebody something through the window, does that make me fall into the drug dealer category?
No, I wouldn't say that independently, no.
Which goes back to what I was saying about if that vehicle pulls into a Hardings or a Myers. I'm just trying to connect the dots.
Yeah, I understand that. And I guess, I don't really have an argument to the idea that as far as if you wanted to conduct more effective enforcement activity, you put the blue lights somewhere where you're having the problem, or put officers there. It's an excellent point. But, you can't just, and the officers truly can, as much as they say it's a rental vehicle, they're using contextual clues around it. And that's, when I said for the reasonable suspicion, you can't take any of those things independently. They all have to be taken as a totality. What's believed to be a rental vehicle, the history of the lot, the contacts at the vehicle, 2 separate contacts at the vehicle, one of which the person got inside the car. You're rising to a level of reasonable suspicion, potential criminal activity afoot. You're not getting anywhere near probable cause to the point to make an arrest, but you're getting to the point where we can start investigating criminal activity, which is what occurred in this case.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Tolbert.
Yeah, more of a statement than a follow-up. In allegation 1, the U.S. Supreme Court has affirmed and reaffirmed that law enforcement officers can compel all occupants of a vehicle to step out of the car regardless of probable cause or reasonable suspicion. If any of the occupants had failed to step out when asked, officers could have charged them with a crime. What crime would that have been? Not following the orders of a police officer?
Yeah, interfering.
Interference?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, if an officer asks you to step out of a car in the United States and the police officer has probable cause, that person has to step outside or not?
They don't have to have probable cause.
They don't have to have probable cause. They just ask you to step out, and if you don't step out, then they can charge you for a crime.
That is correct.
Okay, I'm learning quite a bit today. The next one is allegation 2, and it says the Supreme Court has ruled nearly 100 years ago that the vehicle can be searched without a warrant if there is probable cause to believe that there is contraband inside. In this case, probable cause needed to search was established by the K9 sniff. So without the K9 sniff, would you still have been able to search the car?
No. No, absent the K9, there would have been no search on the car.
Okay. And even though the K9, we just saw that he's been tested for all of these drugs and passed the test, even though they failed to find drugs in the car, even though he got a sniff, what could that have meant?
It could have been, like Mr. Allen said, it could have been the last person who had the vehicle. It could have been something in the pants pocket of one of the occupants. It could have been coming off of the other pedestrian who was inside the car if she carried that crack cocaine that was found on her inside the vehicle. The canine sniff is, they are trained to detect minute odors. So when the canine alerts, they don't tell you how much, they just tell you that it's there.
And the last statement I have is allegation 3. And it was a video review showed the vehicle did not come to a complete stop, even though it started on the stop and we never saw
Correct.
him running the stop sign.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. If you look, I have a copy of the video that I can provide in deliberation if you'd like it. It's from a dash camera and it's far away, but I've got it ready if you'd like it for your deliberation. Okay.
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Just kind of for my own learning, why do lottery tickets have anything to do with possibility of having drugs?
They are extremely commonly used as packaging material. Especially for powdered substances, they can be folded very easily, and they hold their shape when they're folded, so they're used to contain powder. So, in this case, the discovery of a couple hundred lottery tickets was an immediate alert to officers that see this quite frequently.
Okay.
The woman did get in the truck, so could the dog have smelled that, and that's what tipped the dog off?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Was the female ever charged?
The case was written. I'm assuming it was sent to our detective bureau for handling, but I didn't look and see if there was follow up with it.
Right.
So just like forgot your name, Ferrara, Mr. Ferrara just said, just for learning, I'm curious. I've never come across, so pardon my ignorance, but like what does 20 grams of heroin or 23 grams of crack look like in terms of oh, hey, you guys need to go. Yeah, sorry. As to like, how much is that amount? Is that a sizable amount of drugs,
Is
or
that the amount that was found on the other person?
No.
Or was that just?
No, I'm just curious to see, like, so just looking at your certificate for the canine.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the testing is based on roughly about those amounts, and I'm just curious as to whether, 23 grams of heroin is a sizable amount versus, like, a minute amount that could be in the air, for example.
It is. It's not a. Again, I don't work in a laboratory capacity. My experience, I see the amount. I can tell whether this is I can tell from my experience this is a user amount versus this is not a user amount. My understanding from that canine training is that they use user amounts of those drugs to test the dogs.
Okay. So you would
like single use amounts.
Mm-hmm. So you would agree that 23 grams would potentially be a user's amount?
Yes.
That's
probably, yeah.
subjective, of course, but that could be determined as
yeah, it's probably it's on the more than that, but yeah, again, like I said, I haven't worked in laboratory setting where the weights are actually done.
Okay. And then again, circling back to the canine, so obviously in this case, it could be perceived as a false positive. So my question is, when that happens, is there a record for it? And if there is, like what typically is the allowance, if you want to call it, of false positive rates of a canine?
It's an excellent question. We're discussing the same thing this afternoon about it be a good number for us to have from the canine team leader about whether number one, we keep track of alerts that don't result in anything versus ones that do. Mm-hmm. And then certainly any retraining that might occur, because if we've got a dog that's constantly hit, but at the same time, it's difficult to tell too, because if there was somebody who was just in the vehicle with drugs in their person, is it a false positive? Mm-hmm. Right? Because mm-hmm. the odor was there. It just may not have been there 10 minutes later.
Got it.
So,
okay, that's perfectly understandable too. Sorry, I do have a couple, quite a few questions. So just with the follow-up, I forget the name of the officer that conducted the stop to begin with, but when was he made aware that the passenger or everybody in the truck or that truck in particular has been in connection with the observations back at the party store.
When was he?
So what I'm trying to get at is like, so when was the officer, once he conducted the stop? So initially the stop was conducted because Mr. Whitfield failed to fully stop at the stop sign, correct? That was
I get what you're saying. So he would have been in. There would have been radio traffic going on of what the officer's observations were. So he would have been aware of what was going on prior to the stop being made.
Okay, so he would have. And again, I'm sorry, just following up. I'm just trying to build a picture. And so would that police officer had been following him since Mr. Whitfield left the parking lot, and then once he committed a probable cause offense to warrant a stop, perhaps then start with that and then move forwards? Or it's just so it happened that, he was in the area where the officer was patrolling, that happened, and then putting it together. So I'm curious to hear that.
He was set up in a location to intercept that vehicle or to attempt to get a stop on it after it left the store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was set up strategically.
Okay. Thank you for that.
I have a question. Mr. Levon Snell, the other person that was stopped, was any substance narcotic found on him?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay, because he was also observed with another hand-to-hand. He was the other person that approached the truck.
With one of the occupants of the truck?
Yeah.
I'm not aware.
Okay, and going back, because, you made an interesting point that the dog could smell if something was in the lady's pocket that got in the truck and then got out of the truck. Because you said that's a known drug area, plagued, I believe the description was. Could it be quite possible that she could have had that on her before even getting into the truck?
Possible.
Okay, and the reason being, if it's a plagued area, if you had two known drug users standing next to each other and there was a rock on the ground, could just based on that assign who actually owned the rock?
Not unless the officers observed who threw it down.
So the same case in point could be stated about where she actually got it if it was in her pocket and not witnessed being sold to her, because the hand-to-hand wasn't visibly witnessed, because they said that they purchased a lighter, so they could have handed her a lighter and not.
You're absolutely right. So that's why there was no criminal charge done on providing. If we'd gotten into a investigation or started lobbying accusations that, officially criminally, that one of the occupants had sold her that, obviously that wouldn't stand up to any basis, because we don't have an observation. Sure, we have that what appears to be, I think the hand, if I remember correctly, was with the other person, or was it with both?
I think it was with both.
Okay.
With both.
Yeah, and she also got in the truck too. So if there was a transaction that occurred, it could have occurred there. But yeah, we don't have there's no evidentiary basis at this point to find that sale occurred, and she didn't give that statement. So we have possession on her, and that's essentially it.
And it started because it was a newer make vehicle with out-of-state plates. So if it was an older vehicle with in-state plates, this whole wheel wouldn't have started?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. Remember, that's totality. A rental vehicle it can be included certainly in this situation as the totality of the circumstances.
But we didn't know it was a rental until we stopped it.
Yeah, if it's a newer looking vehicle with out-of-state plates, it's 80% going to be a rental.
Okay. I have one other item for my knowledge, I guess.
Mr. Gilbert. Yeah.
They were asked to get out of the car. They got out of the car. Mm-hmm. And then they were asked, "Can I pat you down?" And they said, "No." Mm-hmm. And so the officer said, "Well, I'm going to pat you down." So the officer has the right to pat someone down even if they say without their permission.
Yeah, so the way that this is constructed legal-wise is, so if we're conducting a search of a vehicle, so for a pat-down, Essentially, it's done for officer safety reasons, right? And a pat down it's not a search. It's essentially a pat of a person's exterior to check for weapons, is what it is. So if someone's standing outside a vehicle, they can't produce a weapon on an officer who is trying to watch multiple people at the same time. When the officers are investigating potential criminal activity and they ask someone to step out of the vehicle, there is authority there to conduct a pat down on a person. And again, it doesn't rise to the level of a search, right? It is intrusive for sure, because one person's putting their hands in another. But yes, to answer your question.
So a pat down and a search differ by?
Search would be, I'm going into your pocket. That's a search. Or I'm manipulating this. If an officer is patting me down like this, but then all of a sudden they start, unless they can definitively tell that this is contraband, as soon as they start manipulating something in my pocket, then we're getting into the level of a search, so something intrusive. But simply, essentially patting down the outside of a person, checking for bulges and objects and things like that is considered a pat down.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. The first one's about the dog alerting. At what level? Because that was really, to me, it looked like kind of a cursory search. At what point would a deeper search take place? Because...
Are you talking about the officer's search of the car?
Yeah. The dog alerted, the officer went through some glove boxes and that sort of thing, and determined that there wasn't anything there, correct?
Correct.
Okay. When would a deeper search, what would cause a deeper search?
I think probably a higher, if they had additional evidence. Maybe we were more sure we had other pieces of RS, maybe, something like that, reasonable suspicion RS. We do a deeper search.
Okay.
A deeper searches would obviously be done if we ended up seizing a vehicle and it was in our custody, for sure. But I think what we saw there for a search on the street was pretty normal.
Okay. So the alert that the dog gave, are there varying levels that the dog would alert something? So that's it.
Yep. Just
okay.
They detect
so he
you.
sniffs something and there's something in the air here.
Yep. So they remember the dogs were detected, trained to alert to the odor or the presence, not how much. So the alert's going to be the same whether it's something still in the air from someone who's in the car or in the seat, because that odor can be ground into a fiber versus a pack.
Okay. That's good to know. And then the second person that was seen with a quick hand-to-hand, a few minutes later, this person made a quick contact with the truck, and there was possibly something hand-to-hand, but there was no follow-up with that person. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I can't explain why.
You said you can't tell me why?
I can't explain why, as in I don't know. I would love to tell you.
All right. But these two, with the young lady and then with the second person, those are on film also, correct?
Yes,
no.
that's correct.
Okay. Okay. And then the driver, since the driver was unknown until the stop was made, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so whatever the driver's background was or is, really didn't weigh into the stop because it was unknown that who the driver was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Certainly.
when officers are doing observations, I saw noted that they referred back to the Fusus camera system.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to use that during the course of their observations? Like, can they actively watch? So if they're parked 3 blocks away and they don't have full eyesight, like a clear line of vision, are they allowed to use the Fusus cameras?
There's a level per our policy of having basically we have to be able to articulate why we're doing this and have basically a criminal purpose. We can't do general surveillance.
Okay.
We can't just be sitting there watching it. There has to be some additional stuff. So in this case, I think we're talking about the video that the female that he showed.
Yeah. Thank you. I was just curious.
Final question. In the video, Mr. Troy asked why he was being stopped. Response was, what were you doing at the party store? At any point did anyone explain during the investigation or any other video, we stopped you because we saw people coming to your vehicle, and was that ever explained to him in thorough?
It was not, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I got nothing.
Yeah, so go.
That's kind of interesting because the officer stated that, I'll tell you why we stopped you earlier on. Then late, there was no explanation when the gentleman asked why we were stopped.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably better that I find it exactly. But there was not an explanation given to the gentleman for why they were stopped.
Are you talking about the pretextual reason why or the violation why?
Yeah, pretextual.
Yeah, at the end. I mean, he has this conversation about what were you doing. He has this conversation, what were you doing at the store? They talk about no drugs found in the car. And he tells them right away the probable cause reason for the initial violation. But yeah, they don't have a conversation about, hey, this is why we searched your vehicle.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Just one last question.
Yes, sir.
With regards to the free air sniff, so I presume that the canine is to do the search on the exterior of the vehicle, right, to prevent the Fourth Amendment violation?
Correct.
So if the windows of the vehicle are closed, it doesn't matter, like, the canine can still do just exterior, or will the passenger be ordered to roll the windows down for that matter?
No, they can do the vehicle search from the exterior.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Thank you, Inspector Mason. Thank you very much.
For your questions.
Thank you. Okay, so since we don't have any more questions to ask to the appellant or the ops officers, I would like to close the hearing now and convene into a closed session in order to deliberate for this evening. Thank you.